All right, good morning and welcome to the second day of our 2020 Joe Sugg Award, Graduate Student Award Competition. And I appreciate all of you all being here this morning. I so know for some of you it's earlier than 8 o'clock like it is here in Georgia, but thank you nonetheless. We already have over 30 attendees online with us, and I appreciate you for being here and also for the students as well. I'm going to go through a little bit of an introduction once again this morning. Went through it yesterday, but for those who might not have been with us yesterday, I'll just go through it very quickly. And again, today is day two. We'll meet from today from now until approximately 12:30. Just a little bit about the Joe Sugg competition itself. I think that we talk about it often and really don't pay much attention, or as much attention as we should, to who it's named after. Joe Sugg was the executive secretary for the North Carolina Peanut Growers Association for many years. He was certainly well recognized across the peanut industry and was recognized for his devotion to the peanut industry and to education and to the development and mentoring of younger people in the society. And so the North Carolina Peanut Growers Association has for many years funded and supported this graduate student competition. And we're grateful that this year they've increased their support so that now, in the past, it's been for two prizes, a top first and a top second. And now, based upon their support this year, we can now give a first, second, and third place. And I'll read from the bottom. The Joe Sugg Award goal is to foster increased graduate student participation in presenting papers, which builds leadership skills. Winners, and I would say not only winners, I would say all that participate, exemplify great communication skills, a passion for research, and a belief in higher education. And I think that we as a society tremendously benefit when we have this opportunity and we have the opportunity to visit with the students. One thing or two things to mention here is that this is the largest number of students who've ever participated. That we have 28 students participating this year, plus an additional 9 in the poster competition. So it certainly shows an affirmation from the graduate students, and it's rewarding for us in the society as well. I will say this, that back in May, when we were trying to decide how we should move forward with this meeting in the time of the coronavirus, the question came up, will we be able to continue the Joe Sugg competition? And I'll be the first one to admit that with my limited technological ability, I didn't know if we could do it or not. But it came from the students. It came from their leader, Chandler Levinson, who said, we, the students, want to continue this. We want to find a way to do it. And I'm certainly glad that they did. When you look at the diversity of presentations from yesterday, when you look at the quality of presentations from yesterday and now coming into today, it certainly is very rewarding. For the students who are participating and for the general audience, we have 2 live sessions this year, or 3 live sessions. And one of those, which the society decided was going to be extremely important, that everyone have the opportunity to listen to live and to participate in live, has been this Joe Sugg session. So it's been very, very rewarding for me and for the society as well. For the presenters, if you weren't with us yesterday, I want to go over a few points with you. As you're called up, you're moved from attendee to panelist. As you're a panelist, you'll be able to share your screen. You'll be able to start your camera. Please don't share your screen or start your camera until I have introduced your presentation and introduced you, but be prepared to do so. Okay, you have a total of 15 minutes. I wish we had longer, but with 28 students presenting, we've got to stay on time. So it's 20 or 15 minutes total for your presentation and to answer questions. At 12 minutes, when you see my picture, my smiling face there, when it comes on, you'll know you're at the 12-minute mark. At 14 minutes, I will, don't mean to be rude, but I'll go ahead and verbally tell you you've got 1 minute left. At 15 minutes, just for the sake of time and for the presentation organization, your presentation will be ended. One thing that I did not envision yesterday, I'm so used to being in person, is not all questions that are asked from the audience will we have time to answer. There were a number of them yesterday where there were still some questions remaining. Normally at the APRS meeting, they'll catch you in the hall, they'll stop you, they'll ask those questions. It's not possible, obviously, here. We will have a copy of the questions. Also, there's the opportunity to get in touch with the speakers, with the students, if you have follow-up questions that you didn't get answered, or the students who want to know what those questions were, we're trying to compile those as well. So one of the unfortunate things about not being in person is once your time is up, it's maybe a little bit more difficult to get additional questions answered or asked, we'll try and help you facilitate that. As far as questions go, I will take those from the audience and I will read them to you. And again, we'll have a total of 15 minutes. There may be some unanswered questions. We'll try to help you with that. Last thing is, do not stop sharing your screen until after the questions are over. There may be questions where you will want to go back to your slides, but once your presentation is over and once it's time to move on, please stop your camera and stop sharing your screen. Last thing to do is a special thanks for this session. Again, I showed this slide yesterday, but the North Carolina Peanut Growers Association is the long-term sponsor of this, and they continue to increase their sponsorship, for which we're grateful. They have done a tremendous job to recognize the impact and the support, and to remember Joe Sugg and all that he did and all that he believed in as far as mentoring graduate students. I'd like to thank personally Chandler Levinson, your graduate student chair, Kim Cutchins, the executive officer with APRIS, Dr. Amy Kimura with Texas A&M, and Perrine Kimwright with the American Peanut Council, intern, and all of you who are participating. I could not have envisioned 3 months ago how this would have come across, how it would have developed, but I'm very proud of the effort that each of the students and all of the help that's gone into it. With that, I'm going to ask if there's any questions from the students. I see a raised hand. You know, when you think you got all the technology down and you see a raised hand, sometimes let's see if I can see what that would mean. There's okay. Kim or anyone else, any questions before or comments before we move into the presentations themselves here in a few minutes?
I think we're good. Q&A, please ask your questions through Q&A. I think I might have missed that note.
Yeah. Yes, answer your questions through or ask your questions through Q&A and I will read them. Also, I'll make a comment that as we get closer towards the break at 10 o'clock, Dr. Barry Tillman, our president, will have some additional comments to make regarding some of the survey that's going out. But just to preempt that, just recognize that there will be a survey on your satisfaction with and comments about this meeting and what's been done. And so just recognize that that will be something that we'll need to, that we'll ask for your support from. Also, the APRIS meeting will not end with the conclusion of this session. There'll be some additional things that we will do. So please don't log out when we get to the final speaker this morning. Recognize that there will be more happening. Okay. Any other comments or thoughts before we get started? I have on my, I have 8:07 right now. I'm going to wait just a few more minutes to give participants a chance to, and attendees a chance to join us who think it's going to start a little bit later. I'll give it about 2 or 3 more minutes and then we'll get started with our first speaker. So thank you very much.